or Bill Gates or anybody else, but in fact, the Prince of Wales, heir of the British throne at the time. Here he was at the Great Reset speech, kicking it off. Watch.
Then we will end up having more and more pandemics and more disasters from ever accelerating global warming and climate change. So this is the one moment, as you've all been saying, when we have to make as much progress as we can.
King Charles, proud member of the World Economic Forum. Not only just proud member of the World Economic Forum, he is actually the member of the World Economic Forum who created the Great Reset. Very, very important.
The Norfolk Southern disaster in East Palestine, Ohio, is connected directly by water to the states of Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Kentucky, Tennessee, Arkansas, Louisiana, and Mississippi. And when you get to the coast, Alabama, Florida, and Texas. People do not understand the magnitude of this catastrophe.
We have to move toward a net zero emissions. The first place to do that by the year 2035 is in energy production, by 2050 totally.
All right.
So it's going to become a wind generation. And all they're doing is going to save them a hell of a lot of money, and using the same transmission line that transmitted the coal-fired electric on. We're going to be shutting these plants down all across America and having wind and solar. We're going to be shutting these plants down all across America and having wind and solar.
This is our chance to accelerate our pre-pandemic efforts to reimagine economic systems that actually address global challenges like extreme poverty, inequality, and climate change.
You deserve a government that's going to continue to say, get vaccinated. And you know what? If you don't want to get vaccinated, that's your choice. But don't think you can get on a plane or a train besides vaccinated people and put them at risk.
He was asked which country he most admired and referred to China.
There's a level of admiration I actually have for China because their basic dictatorship is allowing them to actually turn their economy around on a dime and say we need to go green as fastest. We need to start investing in solar.
We are all Muslims in Canada.
I, Justin P.J. Trudeau, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, Queen of Canada, her heirs and successors. So help me God. I, Justin P.J. Trudeau, do solemnly and sincerely swear that I shall be a true and faithful servant to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II as a member of Her Majesty's Privy Council for Canada.
The young generation, like Prime Minister Trudeau, half of this government, are actually young noble leaders of the World Economic Forum. So we penetrate the cap.
When I mention now names like Mrs. Merkel, even Vladimir Putin and so on, they all have been young global leaders of the World Economic Forum.
Mm-hmm. The change is not just happening. The change can be shaped by us.
I developed a GI condition called Crohn's disease,
and it really hit me hard.
We have to prepare for a more angry world. How to prepare? To take the necessary action to create a fairer world. I see the need for a great reset. Some people assume we are just going back to the good old world which we had, and everything will be normal again. This is, let's say, fiction. It will not happen.
The U.S. will have to send their sons and daughters exactly the same way as we are sending their sons and daughters to war. And they will have to fight because it's NATO that we're talking about, and they will be dying.
The global pandemic is a wake-up call we simply cannot ignore. Having been at this now for well over 40 years, I have long observed that people tend not to act until there is a real crisis. Ladies and gentlemen, that crisis has been with us for far too many years, decried, denigrated, and denied. It is now rapidly becoming a comprehensive catastrophe that will dwarf the impact of the coronavirus pandemic. At this late stage, I can see no other way forward but to call for a Marshall-like plan for nature, people, and there was no tomorrow and no ultimate reckoning for our abuse of nature. So, what do we do? Without doubt, we must now put ourselves on a warlike footing, approaching our action from the perspective of a military-style campaign. That way, working together, we can combat this most grave and urgent challenge. If we have the resolve to shift our trajectory, we must start now by bringing forward our net zero target. I'm afraid 2050 simply suggests we have room to delay.
We see that Prince Charles, when outlining his military strategy to take down the world population, particularly the Western world, was discussing his net zero target. Bill Gates, servant of the Crown, has directly implied that in order for their primary goal of net zero target to be reached, the world population must get near to zero. But then Bill Gates discusses murdering 10 to 15% of the population through fraudulent vaccines and healthcare. What exactly is he talking about? Bill Gates and the royals understand all too well about the catastrophic effect of an inverse population pyramid. What is it? By studying history we see that where the population of a society is reduced by 10 to 15%, it causes an inverse population pyramid. This is a cascading effect that in virtually every case in history leads to a collapse of the entire society, and the resulting collapse typically wipes out 90 to 95% of the given population. This in essence is their plan. Thanks to the engineered COVID crisis, we can see that this is quite literally their plan. To wipe out at least 10 to 15% of us through vaccines and faulty healthcare, causing an inverse population pyramid. And then nature will do the rest as our societies collapse en masse. Listen as Bill Gates outlines this simple plan to achieve the monarchy's net zero target. Note the P in his equation stands for population, and lights up.
It's been constantly going up. It's only various economic changes that have even flattened it at all. So we have to go from rapidly rising to falling and falling all the way to zero. This equation has four factors, a little bit of multiplication. So you've got a thing on the left, CO2, that you want to get to zero. And that's going to be based on the number of people, the services each person's using on average, the energy on average for each service, and the CO2 being put out per unit of energy. So let's look at each one of these and see how we can get this down to zero. Probably one of these numbers is going to have to get pretty near to zero. That's back from high school algebra, but let's take a look. First, we've got population. The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%. Little kids. Something to worry about with medicines. That is, might some of them have side effects? Do we need safety testing? I mean, and we're taking things that are, genetically modified organisms, and we're injecting them in little kids' arms. We just shoot them right into the vein. Genetically modified organisms, and we're injecting them in little kids' arms. We just shoot them right into the vein. So, yeah, I think maybe we should have a safety system where we, do trials and test things out. Yeah, I think maybe we should have a safety system. Yeah, I think maybe we should have a safety system. Treatments, and then the final solution, which is a year to 2 years off, is the vaccine. So we've got to go full speed ahead on.
We need a fast military-style campaign to marshal the strength of the global private sector, with trillions at its disposal, far beyond global GDP, and with the greatest respect, beyond even the governments of the world's leaders. It offers the only real prospect of achieving fundamental economic transition. Suddenly moving. This is the framework I've offered in the Terracotta Roadmap, created by my Sustainable Markets Initiative, with nearly 100 specific actions for acceleration. Together, we are working to drive trillions of dollars in support of transition across 10 of the most emitting and polluting industries. They include energy, agriculture, transportation, health systems, and fashion. The reality of today's global supply chains means that industry transition will affect every country and every producer in the world. There is absolutely no doubt in my mind that the private sector is ready to play its part and to work with governments to find a way forward.